and welcome to 5-inch Floppy on GameArena.com.au. I'm Junglist, and this week we're talking about the sequel to PlanetSide, an MMO FPS. That's right, a big, massive world with 3 continents featuring actual pew-pew gameplay as opposed to rolling a die to see who gets on Ixia's thong. PlanetSide 2 takes on the more modern freemium model and pits 3 factions against each other on each continent in a never-ending war spanning green killing fields, desert arenas, and icy hotspots, through days and through nights, with towering structures as a backdrop. All of what you see you can fight over. It's very pretty at times for what it is, and without knowing a heck of a lot about networking, it seems pretty cool that a game like this is even possible. We were actually going to pass over PlanetSide 2 this year. After all, we ping poorly to US servers, and that's where most MMOs are located, and what's the point playing with that kind of lag in an FPS? But the legends over at Sony Online Entertainment have seen fit to grace us with a local server. We ping well to our one little server. So for the deprived Australian market, PlanetSide 2 is off to a good start before anyone even played it. For all their disagreements, these factions have little in the way of differences. As for the classes, there's the Infiltrator who can cloak and hack into enemy consoles, the Light Assault who can jump jet over walls, the Medic who medicinizes, the Repairing and Ammo Providing Engineer, a Heavy class with a few seconds of Super Shield, and a super heavy mech suit that gets repaired instead of healed. Firefights will be won by squads that form the same self-sustaining organisms we're used to seeing in TF2 or Battlefield, with medics healing, NGs providing ammo and repairs, and a mobile spawn point nearby. First, a large ground assault, then the invasion, then the mid-facility battle to cap points until the enemy loses spawn control.
Generator compromised.
And while infantry are needed to cap points, it's hard to mount a proper offensive without vehicles.
Nano-construction technology will allow you to create vehicles at any of our Empire's vehicle terminals.
This is why the larger objectives have buildings around them, which can provide spawn and vehicle support to a full-scale siege. These groups of buildings are about the size of a normal FPS map, and then you can zoom out, and out again, and that's just one continent. Territory connected to your base in the corner decides your resource income, which is used to buy vehicles. Seeing as some battles can go on for hours, one side not having the resources for more vehicles can be a stalemate breaker. So, being an MMO, sometimes it's a bit laggy. And there's the problem of having a faction whose color is red and having enemies appear as red on the minimap. And there's a bit of this. It's a lot of fun though. Even if you're lone wolfing it, though, your satisfaction in this game will be directly proportional to how organized you are with friends. And we're talking multi-tiered military logistics, not you throw a flash while I charge in. This makes it less a game about doing the same finely tuned battle over and over, and repeating the same type of fun over and over, and more so a game about creating big, memorable moments. Like, remember that time we held that fort against so many? It's just a shame it's all doomed to mean nothing. The 3-faction system means the more territory you have, the more you're fighting on 2 fronts. And being an MMO, with a persistent world, there's no actual way to win or lose the game. When you log in the next day, who knows what your comrades on the nighttime shift have done? Even if you're in an ultra-serious clan, there's only so much you can do. People like to do battle reports for PlanetSide 2, but realistically it's as random as the weather. Hey folks, it's Barney Clive, Weather at 5, and we're here in rainy Essamere. I hope you folks brought your umbrellas because the shrapnel is coming down thick and fast as the Vanu move like a hurricane through the Tri-County area. Moving over to the Indar continent now, and things are heating up as we experience some northeasterly patterns from the Terran Republic. And of course, folks, if you live in the southern foothills, lock your doors because the serial teabagger is still out there somewhere. Worldwide, it's cloudy with a chance of murder, Bob. If it sounds like PlanetSide 2 is a pretty sick game so far, good. That's the impression we want to give. There's just one thing. The whole freemium pricing structure thing. We're happy to report it's not pay to win. If anything, it's play to win, or pay to save time. There's station cash, which you can buy, which gets you new weapons and cosmetic things, and there's cert points, which you have to earn and actually improves your character and gear. While some of the purchasable weapons have better stats, it's not much, and most practical stuff like this red dot sight, or the ability to turn this vehicle into a spawn point, can't be bought. However, we don't like to make price-value judgments on the Floppy because money means different things to different people, so we'll just give you some numbers. We figure that players that are decent enough in normal FPS games are getting about 30 cert points per hour, give or take a bit for transport time. With many weapons costing 1,000 cert points, that's over 33 hours for one gun. At a rate of $1 Aussie per 100 station cash credits, and the aforementioned gun at 700 credits, that's $7 for one gun. Buying 10 guns would be the cost of a AAA PC game, and would not be close to unlocking everything in PlanetSide 2. Here are some other things to think about. Unlocking an attachment for a gun only gets it for that gun, not other guns. And if you buy a gun for your character, it's only available for that character. If you create a new character on another server or the same server, you would have to buy that gun again to use it. Part of the problem is that there aren't really any premium items to buy yet, just several versions of the same skull mask and a few camo patterns. We can imagine it'd be pretty cool rolling through the continent with a unique clan-wide color scheme and decals so everyone knows who you are. But at the moment it's like rocking up in your standout sky blue shirt to a Sydney FC game. So over time, as that stuff gets discounted and some truly cool stuff comes in that's worth paying a premium for, maybe this pricing structure will be a bit more sane. It could be worse. Imagine what it's like for the humble citizenry of PlanetSide 2, every 20 minutes forced to bow to a new regime, get new passports, pay new taxes, and go to council elections. It's also worth noting that in this early game stage, some of the elements of the game haven't been unlocked yet, which is affecting balance. All anti-air weaponry is the price we just mentioned, meaning there's not a lot of anti-air, so pilots are enjoying their time in the sun. There's no straightforward upgrading of weapon damage, but there is for health and armor. So doing a little more math, it looks like in the endgame, it'll be harder to kill someone in a medium-range firefight with one clip. And that brings us to endgame. We've long thought that the most fun anyone can have in an MMO is breaking the game. And maybe it's the same here. PlanetSide 2 is a constant struggle to leave your mark on a world devoid of permanency. No winning or losing. No geographical or personal sense of closure or progression. Maybe you think, just maybe, if I'm good enough and if my clan's good enough, I can do something of note. I can blitzkrieg a continent, take over the whole world. But that last little bit of enemy territory will ever nag you like the itch on your back you just can't reach. Lucky for PlanetSide 2, it doesn't need to rely on a steady stream of virtual numbers to keep players interested. The game is fun enough as it is. It's a success story for Sony Online Entertainment, and for us, it's fun, it's free, and it's local.